They come in, you talk to the family, talk to the patient, yada yada yada. Hopefully when they come, you're not already in the middle of something else, but who knows? I mean, just who knows? It could be crazy as heck. Anyhow, what you want to then do is look at your patient, talk to them, try to get a set of vitals as soon as possible. I cannot tell you how important that is. I remember a patient came in, I was not even working on the rehab floor at the facility I used to work for like forever. I wasn't working on the rehab floor that night, which is the floor that takes the most new admissions. And I just remember that there was a code on the patient. So meaning that we had to all run over there, all nurses stat, to this room for a new admit that just came that night. The person had not even been there like 8 hours, like at all. Like they came that night. They didn't have any baseline vital signs already for that patient. So that's a really scary position to be in as a nurse, knowing that you had somebody in your facility and you didn't take any vitals on them. And I mean, it happens. You get busy, it just happens, you all. I'm not gonna sit here and say I do it all the time, but me reflecting back on that, that's definitely a habit that I would say that you should adopt. As soon as they come in, get those vitals, talk to the patient, set eyes on them, find out what their code status is. Are they DNR or are they CPR? Find out what their code status is, and then that way, if something were to happen, you know what to do. Because I cannot tell you enough, sometimes these hospitals, and I'm not knocking hospitals, but sometimes they will discharge a patient and the patient is not stable, and they will be right back in that facility, right back in that hospital within a few days, within a week, and like I said, within that same night. So you want to make sure you put some eyes on them, make sure they're good, get their vitals, and go from there and find out what their code status is, just in case you gotta do CPR, or if you don't have to do CPR, you want to know for sure. Okay, so that's that. You're going to do a thorough assessment. This is the most important thing you do with an admission. If you cannot get all of the assessments done, do your admission assessment. So your admission assessment is typically going to be of all the systems of the body. So anytime you were in nursing school and they showed you how to do a head to toe assessment, that's exactly what you're going to do on that admission. You want to know how they are cognitively, where are they mentally. You want to know what their face looks like, what their skin looks like, what their teeth looks like, how is their hearing, what are their ears like, what are their eyes look like, do they have edema, what does their heart sound like, what does their lungs sound like, are they in pain, do they have a cough, or do they have anxiety, do they have pedal pulses, can you feel those pedal pulses, what do their feet look like, do they have wounds. If a patient has wounds, you must make sure you measure them. Make sure you document them, okay? Measure and document. You might not know the best treatment to put on there, but measure and document, because once that patient comes into that facility, it is now your responsibility. It's that facility's responsibility. If the patient came from the hospital with something, it needs to be documented that that patient had that wound on her foot when they came. You don't want, because pressure ulcers, pressure wounds, pressure sores, they can progress very quickly. So a patient can come in with some soft heels. Document they had soft heels, meaning how your heels kind of are a little bit calloused, or they got some firmness to them. That patient might have some kind of soft, soggy heels. That might be an indication that that patient is starting to get a pressure ulcer. So document that, so that a week down the line, when a CNA is given a bath and they notice that their patient has a wound on their foot that's a stage 2 pressure ulcer, we know that this patient came into the facility with signs of a pressure ulcer, because from what I was taught, pressure ulcers are not covered. If there's a ulcer that's happened, a pressure sore, bed sore that happens at a facility, it's 100% the facility's financial responsibility, because they are 100% preventable. That's what I was taught. I don't know if it's changed, evidence-based practice, all that changes, but from what I was taught, that facility, that's on you. And when the state come in the building, the police, the nursing police, when they come in the building, they going straight for the patients who have pressure ulcers and pressure sores. That's what, if you see little billboards like, have you heard of elder abuse and neglect? Does your family have a bed sore? That's the first thing they ask about. They're 100% preventable, and they look horrible, and it's horrible. So make sure you're documenting what the skin looks like. Do they have bruising? Is the skin kind of thin? Is it, you know, what? Because you want to know, because skin issues is so big in the population that I'm talking about, long-term care. Because like I said, that's the basis that I'm coming from. Okay, so that's that. Peanut gallery. I digress. But anyway, that's important. The skin is so important with these elderly patients because their skin is so compromised, okay? From what they eat and, you know, all these different things. It's so compromised. So skin assessments are huge when it comes to your initial assessment of a patient. And of course, you want to go through all the body systems. You know, do they have bowel sounds? When the last BM? Are they continent? Are they incontinent? Meaning, can they know when they have to go to the bathroom and go to the bathroom? How do they function? All these things you want to know. You want to know that code status though. Okay, you do your admission. You want to make sure that you have to do this. You have to contact the MD. Whomever that patient's MD is, once they come into the facility, call that MD. Say, hey, I want to verify orders. You better have that patient's orders in front of you. And sometimes it's times where I don't even know how to pronounce certain medications, so I look them up. And like maybe it'll have like the generic name. You know, the generic name is like, I don't know, atorvastatin, right? Who want to say all that? Just say Lipitor 40 milligrams QHS, PO. Okay. You want to know what the generic and the brand name is, or just know what the brand name is. So you can just say the brand name. Okay. You don't want to have to do all this extra stuff because the doctor is going to expect you to go through those orders fast. So I have your patient Emily Bucket here. She was admitted with a CVA. She has left-sided, you know, paralysis, yada, yada, yada. These are her medications. Tylenol 650 milligrams, PO, QHS, PRN, Lipitor 40 milligrams, QHS, see, I'm already messing up. I'm just trying to say it off my head, but you want to go through it. Boom, 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 boom. The doctor is not going to sit there listening to you say, she's on Tylenol, 650 milligrams, PO, Q4 hours, PRN for pain or fever. The doctor's going to be like, can you move fast? Like, I had a doctor say that before. Can you talk faster? They have stuff to do, okay, honey? So go through that list. And also, I like to do my assessment of the patient and talk to the patient before I call the doctor, because if I notice something going on with them, I want to be like, hey, I noticed that, you know, they said she has trouble swallowing from her CVA. Can we get speech? Typically, you will have an order for PT, OT, and speech initially right off the bat, because when they're coming into your facility, you want to get a baseline of that patient. And then I'll ask, okay, do you want to ask, so sometimes doctors forget or they got a lot going on. You'll say, do you want to have, you know, therapy? Yes, I want, do da da da. Do you want any labs for this patient? Yeah, go ahead and get a CBC, CMP, get a da 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 for me. I want that by Monday. Ask those questions. It might be even be the family. It's like every night we give her, you know, a glass of wine before she goes to bed. Can you see the doctor can continue doing that? That's why you want to talk to the patient, talk to the family before you call the doctor, because you don't want to call back the doctor and be like, hey, can we get her some red wine every day? Can we get an order for that? No. Have all that in place. And sometimes you might look up and you call the doctor like, hey, you got a new admission, and they're like, you know what, I'm on my way, I'll be there. You ain't got to do nothing. You ain't got to talk and do all these freaking meds. They on their way. That's like the best thing. That rarely happens. But, you know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes doctors is like, okay, I got a new patient. Just fax me the orders. I'll go from there. You ain't even got to sit there and read through all them orders, okay? So it just depends. But you definitely want to contact the MD. And you want to chart. When you do your initial progress note, this is something else. So although you did your admission assessment, and typically it depends on the paperwork, how it looks, or the computer. I'm sorry if this seems confusing or very, you know, overwhelming, but I want to be as thorough as possible because this is very important. So sometimes computer systems will have it where you will do the admission assessment in a different part, and then it's going to take you to a progress note. So your progress note is basically your nursing note, and you want to basically take everything from your admission, everything from you talking to the patient, everything from you doing your assessment, everything from everything, talking to the family, and you want to put that into one nice, great looking note and basically rewrite everything that you already wrote somewhere else into that progress note. So if something's going on and they're like, what's going on? People a few days later, they want to look back and be like, what happened when this patient first came? They have everything in their progress note. Now I know all they could do is just go to the admission assessment in the freaking chart and see it there, make sure you put in your progress note. Sometimes doctors or different disciplinaries like OTPT or, you know, another nurse or management or anybody, they might not look at that part. But at the end of the day, just try. It's like double charting. That's the thing with nursing. Like sometimes it's just literally you're charting the same exact thing like in 3 different spots. Like, do y'all think I'm lying or something? Like, why I gotta keep writing the same stuff over and over again? But anyways, make sure your nursing note is nice and concise and you're kind of really showing, okay, patient was admitted to facility at such and such time with a diagnosis of a fall with generalized weakness and a UTI. Boom. Patient was transported by family to facility. Patients ANO × with intermittent confusion. Residents able to transport with 1 assist for transfers and toileting. Residents incontinent of bowel and bladder. Blah 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 blah. All of that. Verify orders with MD. Code status is DNR. Da 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 da. Have all of that in there. Okay, a nice, concise note. Remember, at any moment in this nursing journey, you can be deposed. You can be what? Deposed. So remember that, okay? At any point of our nursing journey, within what, seven years, whatever, you can be deposed. So you want to make sure you're as thorough as possible. And of course, there's other people coming behind you. So you want to make sure that the communication, everything looks good. Okay, you're the first person to see this patient. You start the ripple of care for that patient. Okay, so keep that in mind. Anyways, I know this is a long video, honey. I'm just giving y'all all the thorough information. So that's that. You write your note, talk to the family, know their code status, know what their skin looks like, document all that. There's gonna always be other assessments that you have to do. Like there's the John Hopkins assessment. I think is it the fall assessment? I don't know. The Brayton scale. So the fall assessment basically gives your patient a score of how much at risk they are for a fall. So it's based off, you know, can they move? Are they confused? You know, are they incontinent? Things like that. Do they have this type of diagnosis? Are they on these type of meds? You answer all those questions and it'll give you a score for your patient. Then you have the Brayton scale, which is going to give you an idea of what the risk for that patient to have pressure ulcers. Remember I said pressure ulcers? Skin issues is big in healthcare. It's big because, you know, our first line of defense is our skin. And like I said, when them police come in the building, them nursing police come in the building, they always run to the patients with wounds. They just always do it. Because sometimes it just takes forever to heal a wound. But anyways, you got the Brayton scale. I've seen like smoking assessments. If a patient smokes, they got assessment for that. They got a risk elopement for a patient. They have a lot of things. Incontinent assessment for patients. All of that stuff. But the most, if you can't get nothing done, do that initial admission assessment. Do that nursing note. And find out what your patient's code status is and talk to that MD. If you can't do nothing else for that patient, nursing 24 hours, you might not be able to get everything done. Get those things done, okay? That's very important. My battery is low. I hope this was helpful to you all. Let me know if you have any questions. I can do follow-up videos, things like that. Like I said, if you have more information that you want to know as a new nurse or a nursing student, let me know. I'm going to try to do more educational videos. Like, you know, this is how you do. I don't want to do those type of videos. So let me know something else y'all want, okay? I love y'all. Thank you so much. Bye.